Listen, man, if you're not paying attention to these WNBA finals, you missing it, and it's your fault. Might as well ignore all of that nonsense about it not being up to snuff and everybody's falling off and nobody's paying attention. Stop it. And I'm saying that as a Caitlin Clark fan, and all that nonsense about nobody watching the finals because Caitlin Clark is out of it is some straight up bullshit. All right? These first two games have been off the chain. And you missing it. And you missing it. I'm not missing it. You missing it. But I tell you what, New York Liberty stood on business tonight. Shout out to KSAP, standing on business, that's his phrase. But they took care of business tonight. It wasn't easy. Minnesota kept coming back, but every time they would get close, the Liberty would just cut it off and get back to doing what they were supposed to do. And just like the first game, you had a stretch where it was just like a turnover fest. And both teams were turning the ball over. I think, let's see, New York had, let me get y'all into this. New York had at one point, it was 14-14 turnovers. It ended up being 20-16. Minnesota had 20 turnovers to 16 from New York. That's crazy. The shot charts, it went back and forth again, just like in game one. Courtney Williams came through in the clutch, right? Then you had Kayla McBride. The last game came through, and you ain't expect that from her. Well, this game for New York, it was Breanna Laney-Hamilton. She got busy with 20 points today. You're not expecting that from her. When you shoot 9 points above your average, she's averaging what, a little over 11 points a game? And you shooting over your average, that is bonus for your team. Now, she made up in the first half. I believe she had like 10, 11 points in the first half. And Jonquel Jones was struggling offensively. And Laney-Hamilton picked up the slack. But then finally, Jonquel gets it together, gets on the line a few times. Because she was like 6 for 13 and you were big on the floor. But she worked through it. 14 points. She got it in there. Laney-Hamilton, 4 for 6 from 3. That's where it's at right there. She took advantage of her opportunities. 8 for 14 for the day. 4 for 6 from deep. That's what you need from your role players when you get something unexpected from somebody you didn't expect. And tonight it was Laney-Hamilton. She shot, her average is 11 points and she hit for 20 tonight. Breanna Stewart was on a mission tonight. She wasn't going to let him go down. 7 for 19 from the floor. Okay shooting, but she was aggressive, physical, hustle plays. Look at her stat line, man. Her stat line was just ridiculous. 21 points, 7 steals, 5 assists, 8 boards. She filled up the stat chart. She put the team on her back and was going to get it done. Leonie Febic didn't even do anything today. She played 30 minutes and all she got is 3 points. She got 3 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. At least she was in the stat line, but they kept her, from scoring. You held her to 3 points, but then Sabrina Ionescu was hot in the first half, kind of cooled off in the second, but she ended up with 15. So overall, they got it done. And that's pretty much where you got it from. Laney-Hamilton, Breanna Stewart, Jonquel Jones, and Sabrina Ionescu. Nobody else. Thornton gave you 3. Sibley gave you 1. Vandersloot only gave you 3. So they wasn't getting much help. And as a team, they played better in game 1, at least in my opinion. But they found a way to win this one. Now you look at Minnesota. Carlton gives you 8. Fee Collier gives you 16, as expected. Alana Smith gives you 14. Kayla McBride only gets you 8. Courtney Williams got you 15. But they didn't get as much help off the bench like they did last time. Hines Allen was zip. She only gave you 9.5 minutes and got no points out of it. Heidemann only got you 5 points today. So as a team, New York played much better than Minnesota did in game 2. And it was a physical game. Breanna Stewart was all over the floor. She was hustling for every ball, every rebound, every loose ball, everything. And that's how you got to play. She was determined not to let this game go down because it looked like for a second, it looked like New York was going to give up the ghost again. And Minnesota was going to come back from being, more than 10 points down. I believe it was like a 12-point lead. I think it's in the game charts. Biggest lead, 17-point lead at one point, New York had. And Minnesota battled back. And finally, New York put it out of reach and they iced the game. And you know what? Even going towards the end, they were still missing a couple of layups. And it was like, come on, y'all can't do that. When you get to the end of the game and you got a chance to put your foot on their neck, you have to do it. Minnesota will come back and sneak one. They handled business today. They got the dub. It's 1-1 going back to Minnesota, and that's how you want to do it. And there's a lot more confidence going back with New York going into Minnesota, because Minnesota, once again, they gave it their best shot trying to cut that lead, but New York withheld. If New York can keep it together in the mid fourth quarter, it's just like in game one, they start to turn the ball over and they start rushing shots and they just miss the shots. Missing layups. A couple times they miss layups right underneath the basket, and you can't miss them opportunities. You just can't do it. It's too important. Every bucket counts in the finals. However, New York got it done, and they got the dub. I'll see you in game 3.